Hello you guys. So today we have started with the monthly plan just to check the progress of the videos that I have already posted and that I'm gonna post today. So if we look at the monthly plan, week 1, period 1, I told you the ones in blue are actually hyperlinks. Okay, if you click on one of them, it will directly take you to a Google Doc, Google Slides, or the presentation, or any link that might help you. Okay, I'm not going to go into the first presentation of period 1 and 2 and 3, because as I told you before, these are just presentations that we used in order to introduce you to the course and to the assessments and so on. It's if you like, you can go through them, but these are not requirements, curricular requirements. So in the first video, I have explained to you the disciplinary lenses and the perspectives, and then in the second one we went more into perspective, stakeholders, arguments, and then in the third into arguments, claims, line of reasoning, and evidence. And now we're going to look at analyzing visual texts, and we're going to see how arguments can actually be pictures, can be posed in video, in images. Later on, we're going to see how they are also posed in a video later on. Okay, as I told you before, this is not a substitute for the classes that we take in class. This is merely a video that is going to help you reinforce the main concepts that we have applied in the classroom and so on. So this video is going to go around arguments as images. It's going to show us how we can form claims from images, and how we can create a line of reasoning from images, how we can read images through two strategies, the Optic Strategy and the VTS, which is the virtual thinking strategy. So before we used to identify the arguments from texts, from paragraphs, from articles, from researches, and so on. So just like articles and texts, images also can pose arguments. They can also have arguments made. They can also support claims, so we can use them as evidence as well. And they can also help us understand the arguments that are posed in the essays or researches or so on. And they can also be an effective tool to help us with our claim. Let's look, for example, at this picture. This is, as soon as I look at any image, I need to go and search for the title, for the citation. So the title here is How Much Is Left, and it is by Adam Frost, 2007. I should look at the colors, I should look at the parts, I should look at what is being said here. So we should always remember that you should not start your sentence with I can see. No, you should say the argument posed in this picture is 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you cannot say that I do not know what you can see. I want to know what is the argument that is being said by Adam Frost through this image. So of course, in class we have discussed the possible arguments that Adam Frost is maybe posing here. And one of you was telling me that it is, well, most of you got it right, and they told me that it's about water waste. Okay, and someone also told me that it is, he supported that by telling me that this is a tap, so people can open and they can close the tap, which means that they can control the amount of water that is being wasted. So we can all stop water waste. It's in our hands. Okay, so this is regarding this picture. What we can deduce from this picture is that yes, arguments can be made through images. Okay, now good. We got that point. The point that says that yes, arguments can be made by an image, can be posed by images. Now, can an image also support an argument? Can a claim be made through images? Looking at these pictures, for example, we can see that they have one main theme, and the one main theme here is social media, for example, or technology. So as we can see, for example, this is a negative, this is a positive, this is a negative as well, this is a positive, this is a positive, this is a negative, this is a positive. So we have got different perspectives, we have got different opinions. Okay, if I'm gonna ask you about the lenses, this may be the educational lens, this as well the educational lens, this can be the psychological lens because it's causing her stress, this can be the social lens because they no longer communicate with one another, this also can be a social lens because he seems addicted, or also it can be a medical lens if you are going to look at his medical situation. Here you can see it as, for example, an economical lens, for example, because they're working, so they're producing more, and so on and so on. So as you can see, there are many lenses here. Okay, now if I'm going to pose an argument, for example, I would say that social media causes anxiety to teenagers. Okay, this is an example of that. So I use this picture in order to support my claim. So an argument that can be made here is that social media has many social effects. For example, social media has many social consequences, let's say, on the people or whatever, okay? On adults, to be specific. So my first claim can be, for example, that it can ruin family relationships, and I can use this picture as a claim. And my other claim can be, for example, that it can make a person addicted to it, so he won't, for example, communicate with his family, with his siblings, and so on. So this would also be my second claim. So as you can see, another argument can be, for example, social media or technology can be a great asset for individuals at school and at work. So this can be an argument. My first claim can be it can help students at school. This is my first claim. This is the image that supports this claim. My second claim can be it helps individuals in their careers, and this can be the second claim, and so on. Okay, so you can form, of course, thousands of arguments here that are also backed up with different claims. Okay, we did an activity there. We'll skip it, and let's go to the Optic strategy. Now, the Optic is an acronym. When I say it's an acronym, it means that each letter stands for something. Okay, great. Now, where can I find it? If I move to this one, I would not find that explanation of an optic. So please, you have to go back to the classroom and go to the monthly plan. If you scroll down, for example, you can find Optic as a hyperlink. If you click on Optic, for example, it's gonna directly take you to a PDF file, okay, that explains what Optic is. So Optic is a strategy that can help you understand visual texts. Visual texts means, as you can see here, photographs, paintings, images, and so on. So let's go to letter O, for example. Letter O says it is an overview. Overview is that it's in general. How can you, in one sentence, explain the picture in general? We did not go into details yet. So this is the O. P is when I look at all the parts. Colors, figures, textures, groupings, shadings, repetition of some something, and so on. T is when I look for the title, or if this image is found in a text, I should look at the text and how do they put meaning into each other. How does the image add to the text, and how does the text add to the image? I is when I explain the interrelationships in the image. So I should look at the parts that I have looked at in step number 2, and I should see how they are related. In C, we write a conclusion, and this is going to be the conclusion about this picture. The C here, the conclusion here, is actually going to be my claim, and the P, which are the parts, are going to actually be my evidence. We're going to see that later on. Let's go back to the presentation. Sorry. Let's go back to the presentation, I think. Yeah, this is it. So let's look at this picture, for example, this image, and this is a portrait done by Frida Kahlo, as I can see, and it is titled as Self-Portrait Between the Borderline of Mexico and the United States in the year 1932. When I say it's a self-portrait, it means it's a picture of someone's self. Okay, so if I want to have a self-portrait, I'm going to draw a picture of myself. So we expect that this here is actually Frida Kahlo, the one who already, the artist who drew this painting. Now, let's do the optic strategy together. So O, as we said, is an overview. What can you see in general? So I can see, for example, a woman standing between two places, and we can see two flags, the American flag and the Mexican flag. We can see, yeah, and that's it. Let's go to P, and P, as we said, is parts. So let's start from here. For example, we can see industries, we can see skyscrapers, we can see machines, we can see different kinds of machines, actually, like watches, for example, and so on. And this woman, as we expect, okay, and this woman, as we expect, is going to be Frida. If you search, by the way, for Frida's picture, you're going to see how similar she looks here, and she is carrying a Mexican flag. This is the American flag. It has smoke, for example. On the other part, we can see some buildings, and these resemble the traditional buildings of Mexico. We have here the moon and the sun, and it seems like as if it is lightning coming out from the sun's mouth, for example. There are faces. We can see the skull here, the baby, the flowers, the many flowers, the wood. Okay, so these are the parts. Now let's go to T, and T is when I look at the text or the title. Now I don't have a text, right? So I'll only look at the title, and I'll see how the title is actually related to the picture. The title says The Self-Portrait Between the Borderline of Mexico and the United States. Reading this title, I can see that self-portrait here means that this is actually Frida. She's actually the one who drew this image. Between the borderline of Mexico and the United States, here I can know that she is standing in the middle. Okay, between the United States and between Mexico in the border. As you know, that Mexico is on the border with the United States. Okay, if I look at, for example, the year, it is 1932, and we know from our previous knowledge that during that period of time, countries like the United States were at the top of the Industrial Revolution and so on. They started with the skyscrapers, with the factories, the many factories, and so on. So this was also a very normal point of view regarding the United States back then. So yeah, this is how this title has helped us understand the image. Let's go and look at I. So here we can see from her holding the Mexican flag. This Mexican flag and the United States flag here are parts. So if, for example, I can say that these two parts are related and because she is actually a person who is a Mexican. Of course, I can know that from her name and from the fact that she's actually holding the flag, and that she is, of course, maybe she has a work, maybe she has a point of view regarding America. I can say, for example, that this part here is related to the Mexican culture because they have, for example, something called the Day of the Dead, and so on. So I just relate the different parts to actually the main concept of the picture. Let's go to C. And C, as we said, is when I am going to make a conclusion. If I look at these parts, I would conclude that, for example, Frida here is actually she does not know where to belong, whether it's to Mexico or to the United States, maybe, or maybe that she loves or she appreciates her country, Mexico, more than the United States. Whatever you're going to say is going to be your claim. Now, if I say, for example, Frida loves Mexico, or she feels that she is attached to Mexico more than the United States, okay, I need to support this claim. This is going to be a claim, right? If I say that Frida feels that she belongs more to the Mexican culture, this is a claim. So if I need to support this claim, I would go to the parts, and I would go and look at the parts, and I would try to take them as a support to my claim, because they're the evidence, as I told you before. So, for example, I can see that, okay, since Frida is holding the flag, it means that she loves her Mexican identity, okay? So she feels that she's Mexican, for example, because she's holding the flag. So this flag is a part, right? So it's the evidence of my claim that she loves Mexico more than America. I hope that you get it. Okay, so yeah, this is the optic strategy. In class, of course, we have worked on breakout rooms, and we have looked at another picture that says big fish eat little fish, eat big fish, and so on, and we have interpreted that as well. Now let's go to the VTS. VTS means the virtual thinking strategy. It's another way in order to help us think about images. I ask myself these three main questions. What's going on in this picture? How do you know? And what more can you find? For example, let's go and look at this picture, okay? I'll ask myself my first question. What's going on in this picture? So I would say, for example, there is a woman. She's an American citizen, for example, or she at least lives in America, and she is protesting because she wants the equal rights for women. How do you know? Because she is holding the banner that says equal rights for all workers, including, for example, workers can also be women. And of course, she has the American flag behind her, so she represents that culture or that society. What more can you find? If I want to find more, I would read, for example, this one. So, an administrator at an immigrants' rights rally in New York City in 2007. She argues argument based on values that are widely shared within a society. Okay, so as we said, that she is arguing, she's actually protesting because she needs the equal rights for all workers. So how can you know? What more can you know? I can go and research, for example, this picture. I can research actually the rally that was made in New York City in 2007. I can know more about this picture. This is how you can know more. So knowing more, it means going and searching for something more. How do you know more? You go to the title or the text and you try to find more about it. So basically that's it. we have taken the two strategies of reading pictures, the VTS and the optic, and we have learned how images can be claims, how they can be evidence, how they can be arguments. Okay, thank you, you guys. Please don't forget to always go back to the monthly plan, because again, it has every single thing that you need.